They didn't fail because they were wrong. They failed because they were too good at a world that was already dead. Imagine a room at 3 a.m. The air is thick with the smell of ozone and stale coffee. Cables snake across the floor like vines. In the center, a machine hums, a massive high-speed heartbeat that shouldn't exist yet. A young engineer, eyes bloodshot from a 30-hour shift, leans back and watches the terminal flicker to life. It's faster than anything IBM ever dreamed of. It's leaner. It's more precise. It's a masterpiece of engineering. The team thinks they've just won the future. What they don't realize is that outside that room, the future has already moved on, and it doesn't care about their masterpiece. This is the story of Data General and how one of the last great computer companies perfected a system right before the entire industry decided it didn't matter anymore. This is the series where we break down the deals, decisions, and power shifts that built and destroyed billion-dollar empires. Late 1970s. The computer industry doesn't look like it does today. There are no laptops, no cloud, no smartphones. Computers are physical, heavy, expensive, locked inside rooms where access feels controlled, almost guarded. And in that world, a new kind of company rises, not massive like IBM, not slow, not bureaucratic, faster, leaner, hungrier. Data General. They weren't trying to dominate everything. They were trying to build something better. Mini-computers, smaller than mainframes, cheaper, faster to deploy, close enough to the user to actually feel useful. It wasn't just a product shift. It was a philosophy. Instead of central control, distributed power. Instead of massive systems, focused machines. And for a while, it worked almost perfectly. Through the late 70s and early 80s, Data General became one of the most aggressive, focused engineering companies in the industry. They moved fast, built machines that competitors didn't think were possible yet. And most importantly, they built a culture around it. Small teams, tight deadlines, real pressure. This wasn't an environment where you waited for approval. It was the kind where you just built. If something worked, you shipped it. If it didn't, you fixed it. There was no time for anything else. One project, in particular, would define them. The Eclipse MV/8000, a next-generation mini-computer. More powerful, more advanced, built under pressure that most companies would never accept. The room is warm. Machines running constantly. Engineers sleeping under desks. Someone arguing over performance metrics at 2 a.m. They're not just building a product, they're racing time. Because competition is everywhere. And in this industry, being early isn't enough. You have to be first. They pull it off. The machine works. Fast, efficient, competitive. Exactly what the market expects. Exactly what the market rewards. For a moment, it feels like they've done it again. Like they've proven the model still works. And in a way, they had. But something else was already happening. Something quieter, less visible, and far more dangerous. While companies like Data General kept refining mini-computers, a different idea started spreading. Not in big labs, not in controlled environments, on desks, personal computers. At first, they looked like toys, underpowered, limited, nowhere near what a mini-computer could do. No serious company was worried. Why would they be? But this wasn't a performance problem. It was a shift in direction. Because the PC wasn't trying to be better. It was trying to be everywhere. Apple pushed early personal machines. IBM standardized the PC architecture. Microsoft built the operating system layer. And something started to change. Slowly at first, then all at once. The center of computing moved. From controlled environments to open systems, from specialized hardware to standardized platforms, from machines to ecosystems. Data General kept doing what they were good at, building better systems, more efficient, more powerful, solving the problems they understood deeply. But the industry wasn't solving the same problems anymore. This is where everything starts to slip, not because they made a mistake, but because they stayed aligned with a world that was disappearing. The power of the PC wasn't in the hardware, it was in standardization. Anyone could build one. Anyone could develop for it. Software scaled faster than hardware ever could. And once software starts scaling, hardware becomes replaceable. Data General's entire model depended on integration, hardware plus system plus control. But the new model broke that apart. Hardware became a commodity. Software became the platform. And the companies that controlled software started controlling everything. They didn't lose to a better machine. They lost to a better system. By the mid to late 80s, the shift was undeniable. PCs were improving rapidly. Software ecosystems were growing. Developers were building for open platforms, not proprietary systems. And suddenly, the advantage Data General had built started to shrink. Not because their machines got worse, but because everything else got better, faster. Inside Data General, the pressure builds, sales slow, competition increases. The old strengths don't hit the same way anymore. You can still build a better system, but fewer people are asking for it. And that's the hardest moment for any company, when you're still good, but the world stops needing what you're good at. They try to adapt, new systems, new directions. But adaptation is harder when your entire company is built around a different model. You don't just change products, you change identity, and identity doesn't shift quickly. Meanwhile, the new players don't have that problem. They're built for the new system from day one. They don't have legacy. They don't have habits to unlearn. They just scale. There's a difference between improving a system and replacing it, and Data General was still improving. By the 1990s, the outcome is clear. The mini-computer era is ending, not with a crash, but with a fade, quietly replaced by something more flexible, more scalable, more aligned with where computing was going. Data General doesn't collapse overnight, but the trajectory is set. The industry they helped define moves on without them. There's an uncomfortable truth here. They didn't miss the future because they were slow. They missed it because they were excellent at the past. They built faster machines, better systems, stronger engineering culture, everything you're supposed to do to win. And they did win, for a while. But the game changed, and when the game changes, being the best at the old one doesn't matter anymore. This wasn't just Data General. You can see the same pattern in companies like Prime Computer and DEC. Different strategies, different markets. Same outcome. They optimized for a world that was disappearing. Midway through this shift, one idea becomes impossible to ignore. The companies that control the platform control the future, and platforms don't reward the best hardware, they reward scale. What if Data General had gone earlier? What if they had embraced the PC model faster? Standardization? Software ecosystems? Could they have transitioned? Maybe, but maybe the harder truth is this. To win the next system, you often have to walk away from the one that made you successful, and that's a decision very few companies get right. In the end, Data General didn't fail in the way most people think. They didn't collapse because of bad engineering or bad decisions. They built one of the last great computer companies of an era, and they perfected it right before it stopped mattering. Because the real shift wasn't about better machines, it was about a different way of building the future, and the companies that saw that shift early didn't just build computers, they built the systems everything else would run on. If you look closely, you can see the same pattern repeating again and again. A company masters one layer, another company moves above it, and suddenly, control changes hands. Because the next story is about a company that didn't just build better software, they built the layer that every computer would depend on. And once that happened, the entire balance of power changed.